So this is I Love Jeet Kune Do Broadcast number 386. This is the one where people keep talking like if Jeet Kune Do is a living, breathing entity, which it isn't. Okay. They talk as if the art is out there cross training, as if it's evolving or running laps or look, Jeet Kune Do does not breathe. You breathe, and that's what changes everything. So listen carefully because this is going to go straight to the heart of why there's still some confusion and some contradiction and some tension around JKD. And this is it. Jeet Kune Do does not do anything. The people involved in Jeet Kune Do are the ones who do stuff. Jeet Kune Do cannot cross train. It cannot condition. It cannot hit a speed bag. It cannot lift weights. It cannot evolve. It cannot look outside of itself for new methods. Jeet Kune Do is an idea. It is also a system, albeit an unfinished system, and it is an approach. But what it is not is an organism with agency. So until we fix that fundamental misunderstanding, all the debates that orbit around the topic of JKD, they will continue indefinitely spinning in circles. Okay. So my good friend Richard Torres posted a question. I love how I do something and then my good friends kind of copy it. So his question was, is Jeet Kune Do a cross-training mixed martial art? So I gave a simple answer. No, because Jeet Kune Do does not cross-train in other arts. It is its own art. And that could have been the end of the conversation. But instead, we get a typical response. Yes, it does. JKD does cross-train. It uses conditioning. It uses weight training. It uses different bags. It uses different tools. And that's where the whole thing collapses because conditioning is not cross-training. Weight training is not cross-training. And changing the different equipment that you hit is not cross-training because running and lifting and shadow boxing and plyometrics and all that stuff, those are training methods. They are not other martial arts. Cross training, if you are in the martial art context, cross training, if you are in the martial art context, means training in another martial art, training in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, training in Greco Roman wrestling, training in Muay Thai, training in Boxe Française Savate, training in Pencak Silat. Those are other arts. A double end bag is not an art. A jump rope is not an art, and a speed bag is not an art. You cannot cross train by hitting a different type of bag. Here's another one that you hear. If JKD doesn't cross train, it can't evolve. Well, again, let me help everybody out. Martial art styles don't evolve. The people evolve. Jeet Kune Do doesn't go running. It didn't go running. Bruce Lee did. Jeet Kune Do didn't lift weights. Bruce Lee did. Jeet Kune Do didn't use isometrics. It didn't use the stretch pulley. It didn't use the wooden dummy. It didn't use the heavy bag. It didn't use the focus mitts. Bruce Lee used those things to develop himself. And this is a misunderstanding that creates, what Chris Kent has called the JKD identity crisis. Because people keep assigning human characteristics to an inanimate concept, and then they argue based on these false assumptions. But Jeet Kune Do is not a life form, it has no metabolism. Like I said on the recent JKD roundtable, it doesn't wake up one morning and make a decision to decline or that it needs to be revived. It is the individual practitioner who explores, who improves, who experiments and evolves, just like Bruce Lee did. Just like Bruce Lee himself said, essentially, the individual is more important than any established system or style. So, right there, 90% of the argument could end. But if you go on to list, again, hitting the bag, using different training rhythms, developing timing, improving footwork, strength training, improving your conditioning, whatever. Even if you mention something like personal sacrifice, right? I would agree with all of that because all of that is good advice for a person. But it proves my point. Everything in that list is something an individual does to improve him or herself. None of those things are other martial arts. So none of those things are martial art cross training. They're also not evidence that Jeet Kune Do is a mixed anything, to go back to answering Richard's question. And it is not proof that JKD evolves on its own. Those are simply training methods, not arts. And I don't know if I can emphasize that anymore. All right. If I use a jump rope, I am not cross training in jump rope. If I use the ab roller, I am not cross training in ab roller. If I hit the top and bottom bag, I am not cross training in the art of the double end bag. This kind of sloppy language, it can lead to sloppy thinking for yourself, and it can also lead others into sloppy thinking. And sloppy thinking, you know what that's going to lead to, right? Sloppy Jeet Kune Do. So Jeet Kune Do is not the actor. The practitioner is. Jeet Kune Do is the framework. It is the analytical filter, so to speak. Jeet Kune Do is the performance lens, but it is always the human being who experiments, researches, conditions, tests, expresses, evolves, because Jeet Kune Do doesn't collect anything. The practitioner is the one that collects experiences and skills and understanding. Notice I never said the practitioner collects techniques, okay? But experiences. Talk to Dan Inosanto. Read old Dan Inosanto stuff about what a teacher provides. And you'll hear him talk about providing experiences for the student to grow. So Jeet Kune Do does not go outside the box or think outside the box. You do. Jeet Kune Do does not go looking for other methods. You do. Jeet Kune Do does not shortchange its conditioning. You do. And that's what Bruce Lee was trying to get people to understand way, way back in the 1960s. And here we are in 2025, heading into 2026, and we're still having that kind of conversation. So, again, if you talk about cross training, Jeet Kune Do cross trains, and Jeet Kune Do evolves, and you preserve, the 66 or 67 stuff, right? And then you look outside of it for Jeet Kune Do doesn't do any of that, right? And that is what I mean about the technique collector mindset, right? For some people, the idea that more tools equals more JKD, more drills equals more JKD, more equipment equals more JKD, and unfortunately, more systems equals more JKD. But you've heard that thing about the daily decrease, right? So Jeet Kune Do's power is not in accumulation. Jeet Kune Do's power is in reduction. It is in refinement, but it is also in clarity. And that's why we can't have the sloppy language. Bruce Lee was not trying to build like a Frankenstein system or whatever. Okay. So the next time somebody says JKD cross trains, hopefully you will say, no, it doesn't. People cross train. People work on their conditioning. People lift weights. People evolve. Jeet Kune Do is not a participant in your training. Jeet Kune Do is a lens through which you can interpret your training. So, the practitioner, not the art. So, in case you have forgotten, let me leave you with that. Right? man, the living the living what the heck does it say? Creating individual is always more important than any established style or system, including Jeet Kune Do. Okay, including Jeet Kune Do. Bruce Lee didn't say this outside, right, of Jeet Kune Do. Okay, you with me? All right. So that is pretty much all I am going to talk about today. I will look because I know that because listen, the broadcast is not supposed to be a Q&A. That is to ask me anything. But since I might not be around on Friday, um, let me see what's in here. Alex Hausman says, I feel like I did nothing but look outside the art when I started teaching. I feel like I did nothing but look outside the art when I started teaching. Oh, could there could be something to that. Scorch says that sport specific training for martial arts can be applied to JKD. By whom? Right? It can be applied to JKD. So that means somebody's going to be doing the application. So it's not JKD, right? Um, Doug says, nope. But was Bruce Lee Jeet Kune Do or was Jeet Kune Do Bruce Lee? Was Bruce Lee Jeet Kune Do or was Jeet Kune Do Bruce Lee? Neither. Bruce Lee is the founder of an approach to martial art called Jeet Kune Do, but Jeet Kune Do is not Bruce Lee. So that's a little bit esoteric question there, Douglas. So, I mean, if I thought about it in terms of esoteric philosophy and whatever, then I would try to come up with with an answer for you. But Bruce Lee is the founder of Jeet Kune Do, so Bruce Lee existed before Jeet Kune Do did. So it's his baby. We follow his philosophy and teaching, right? So yeah, but I kind of get where you're going with that, but I wouldn't answer it that way. I wouldn't think of it that way. Um, Okay. All right. So that's it. That's it. Right. So you guys know what to do. Go ahead. I'll take a look at the comments after and what have you. Um, this thing here called which one is this? I think this is the fire, the fire and fury. I can't even remember the fire and focus T-shirt. That's the type of stuff that is available at printify.me, rebelgear.printify.me, right? Rebelgear.printify.me. That type of stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Okay. You could go there and check that out. Yeah. Okay. We'll get that out of there, Dwight. All right. My good friend James Bishop is actually helping me out with something. But for now, you can still get the Jeet Kune Do Journey Volume 1 at paypal.me/unified MA Miami. Paypal.me/unified MA Miami. That's where you can find that. Over at the JKD Rebel, the JKD Rebel.gumroad.com is where you find my downloadable video, Jeet Kune Do Quick Skills Series Volume 1, Junfan Kickboxing. And that is at the jkdrebel.gumroad.com. And that will soon be accompanied by the Stick and Dagger Numerata and Sombrata video. And I think that's it. No, there's one more. Titans of JKD, my friends. Titansofjkd.com for all the relevant information. Some people took advantage of the first price offering, and then some people missed it. The next price hike will be on December 19th. So about 2 weeks from now, the next price hike. So my suggestion is to go ahead and get yourself registered ASAP, if not immediately, right? Titansofjkd.com for all that information, hotel stuff, all that good stuff. All right, so that is it. Ron Reagan and I hit the road on Friday. We're gonna go hang out with Sifu Dan, and then hang out with Cass Magda over the weekend. So I'll tell you what, keep your ears and eyes peeled for if something's going to happen on Friday or not. That's all I can tell you right now. Okay, so let me get you guys. Let me know what you think. This is all I'm going to say in this video. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys take care. Talk soon.